Welcome to the driver's seat. We're in Utah for the launch of the all-new Honda Passport. Now, yes, that's a name that Honda had in the past. It was actually a rebadged Isuzu Rodeo, but this is an all-new Passport. Now, critics of the Passport are going to say that they just took a Pilot, they took out the third row, and they cut out 6 inches. Well, we're here to tell you it's much more than that. There's an extra inch of ground clearance, and it's really made for adventure like we're doing today, just outside of Arches National Park. Honda engineers went through great lengths to distinguish the Passport from the Pilot. It all starts up front with this new front fascia. It's blacked out and unique for the Passport. To make the Passport off-road ready, in addition to the 1-inch additional ground clearance, you also have a 21.5-degree angle of approach and a 27.7-degree angle of departure. All Passports come standard with 20-inch blacked out wheels. These roof rails are an inch taller than the ones you would find on a Pilot, and they're made for adventure. They're also standard on all trim levels. There's more rear legroom than a Pilot, and you have more cargo room than any vehicle in the segment. The only engine option for the Passport is a 3.5-liter V6 producing 280 horsepower. That's right up there at the top of the segment. And all trim levels for the Passport are mated to a 9-speed automatic, unlike the Pilot, which has 2 different transmissions depending on the trim level. Front-wheel drive is standard. All-wheel drive is optional on the lower 3 trim levels. When you get to the top trim level, the Elite that we're driving today, all-wheel drive is standard. Another way Honda engineers distinguished the Passport from the Pilot are these rear taillights, which are smaller. I actually like it better. I think taillights are just getting too big overall. A couple things I don't like, or I think Honda could improve on. As you can see, these wheels and tires, they don't quite come out flush with the fender flares here, and I think it would give it a nice fuller look. This has about a 1/2 inch wider track than the Pilot, but when you add the wheels, it actually makes it look like it's about 1 inch wider. I think you could put some spacers and make it look even better. Another thing is, look how small this Passport logo. You're trying to build a new brand, and the last time they did a Passport was almost 20 years ago, and I think they could have put a little more effort into putting a bolder Passport logo, maybe all the way across this rear bumper. Honda engineers reconfigured this class-leading cargo area to reflect what a typical Passport owner would do and how they would use their vehicle. So you have this storage bin that's useful for putting laptops, purses, backpacks, whatever, but this also expands. You have more cargo storage area up here, and you have a spare tire. This is very important to a typical Passport buyer because they might put a mountain bike here, and when you fold these seats down, you'd be amazed how much space they have. Again, class-leading cargo area. That concludes the off-road portion of our Honda Passport evaluation. I do want to mention that they have 4 different drive modes: normal, mud, sand, and snow, and we did get a chance to experience that. Honda says it's the best all-wheel drive system in the industry. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's a very good system with true torque vectoring, which actually comes in handy even on canyon roads like this. But we're also realistic that most Honda Passport owners are going to spend 99.9% of their time on-road. If you are on-road and you're going to be doing towing, this is your vehicle. At 5,000 pounds, it's at the top of the segment which goes all the way down to 1,500. On some vehicles, 3,500 seems to be kind of the segment average. So 5,000 is very respectable. You can tow a small boat or a small trailer. The vehicle's very comfortable. We like the infotainment system. We first saw it on the Odyssey about 1.5 years ago, and now we're seeing it in other vehicles, and it's a great system. It's very intuitive. I think for $43,000, $44,000 with the Elite model, I'd like to see head-up display as an option. We don't have that, and some of the other vehicles in the segment do have that as an option. The display is brilliant. It's very visual, very visible, and just a good place for drivers to be. This is a comfortable vehicle on long trips, short trips, very easy to get in and out of. And the target buyer is really probably someone in their 50s who was driving a Pilot for years with 3 rows and kids. Now the kids are out of the house. They still like the way that drives, but they don't want all that extra, the extra seating and the extra length, so they go with something like this. And it just makes a lot of sense. It makes sense for Honda. It makes sense for Honda customers. This is an easy recommendation to make when you look at the segment. I've driven everything except the Blazer, which I'll be driving shortly, but I doubt anything is really going to have the reliability and capability of a Honda. The closest thing Toyota has is the 4Runner, and I almost don't consider that as part of the segment because it is a body-on-frame SUV versus a crossover like the rest, but I would certainly put this at the top of all the crossovers. Honda tells us each year they lose about 30 to 35,000 customers because they don't have a vehicle to offer them, something in the segment that includes vehicles like the Ford Edge and Nissan Murano. But the two vehicles they really focused on were the Jeep Grand Cherokee and Toyota 4Runner. So this Passport fits right in between those two. It's not as aggressive as a 4Runner, which is a good and bad thing. It rides much smoother than a 4Runner, but may not have the off-road capabilities, but it certainly is right up there with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, but it has the Honda reliability. Starting price is around $33,000, as equipped, all-wheel drive, elite. We've been driving today just under $44,000. I'm Ron Doran. See you next time on The Driver's Seat.